Welcome back to another game. Let's see what we get here. We're white with Van G. I wonder, is it time to mix up my openings? Maybe I should play like an English or a Catalan or something like that will complement what I'm trying to play with black. We're going to get a move here. Yeah. The main line. Interesting rating profile. 1477 bullet. 1000 at anti-chess. Doesn't really much, does it? 34 games of blitz at 1457, and then 100 games of rapid at nearly 2200. Really interesting profile distribution. So they're taking their time. I suppose I do like the Van Geet as an opening, but I wonder how many games of rapid I've played now. 156 games, with most of those being the Van Geet. Whether it's time to move it along, learn something a bit new. I mean, I'm sure my rating will go down before it goes up again if I do swap openings. But like I said, I'm not so bothered about it. I'm kind of at this 2200 level. For a while, it was looking like I might get all the way up to 2300, but it kind of varies, doesn't it, from day to day. There's definitely some more games in there where I could have pushed a bit harder and got some slightly better results, but equally we had a couple of good results we maybe didn't deserve. And we've put them right into a think early on here. So if you've not seen any of my Van Geet games, I've had loads and loads and loads of them, probably the most on the internet now for Van Geet. Main line goes here, and the kind of setup I want as white is if they push, my knight reroutes itself over to g3, this other knight comes out here. Bishop on c4 is kind of critical to the idea, so one of the kind of cheap early tricks, which we've had definitely a few times against 2000 plus rated opponents, okay, which we're not going to see. This is kind of the annoying line where I think I trade it, and we just get a very kind of position. But this is pleasant. Up at 2-minute time advantage by move 3. That's pretty good. So I say this is probably one of the main moves. I mean, you can bring either knight out. You can play for e5. You can bring your bishop out. You can maybe try and get a bit adventurous with a queen move. I'd be quite happy if you played e6. So I'm expecting a piece to land on one of these squares. I probably only missed off a few legal moves of reading the other stuff. I'd say this is played most in practice, and I think I take, this takes, and then we play d4. Maybe we get our bishop out. I can't. Okay. So against this, we'll just attack with a knight. And then the nice thing about this kind of structure is if the bishop ever comes, we kick it with h3, and if it goes back, we've got the option of dropping our knight back to attack it at h5. So we'll see the pawn's undefended, but so is my knight. So it like takes here. Takes, queen takes. I want to get my bishop out. It'd be interesting if they take g takes. So if I bring the bishop, this is probably just the only thing to consider. Is queen here. Can take here. Takes, check. And I can always play this at the end. So let's do that. So you just need to be a bit mindful of this move. We're going to look to castle, bring the rook onto the e file as another source of pressure. So I think they need to try and castle quickly, because if they let me get the rook over here, I can play moves like d4. I could even play like bishop f4 potentially in some lines, queen e2, just trying to launch as much pressure onto here as possible. Actually, I also didn't look at this, did I? Maybe, yeah. Yes. Can go here. And this and then this. Do I mind so much having double pawns? Suppose I play this. Takes, 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 takes. I'm getting f4 in and trading off. I'm playing rook g1. With some pressure on the g file. I've got a bishop pair. Or I try and maintain my things with this, this, and this. I think I'm going to do this and accept the double pawns. Castle queen side. I can trade the g pawn off, have some pressure with my rook on g1. This. Takes. And takes. Knight here, I can castle long, and this pawn is protected by the bishop. And this check, probably just kick it here. Yeah, maybe like takes here. Takes. And interesting. Like I want to play a3 just to stop something from, like a knight or a bishop from getting here. Both are a bit annoying. I'm under a bit of pressure, right? This pin is annoying. I can relieve a bit of the tension, like h3 probably forces the trade. But I'm not really in a position where I just want to be giving away a move for h3. Constantly looking if this is ever going to be viable. I was like, maybe if the knight ever moved away, the king was castled or something. I was like, yeah, if I could take here, drop my queen, but if I move here, the queen's under attack too, so I need the king to be there. Interesting. So I think I'm forced to take. And then check. Takes is not viable. This is not viable. check. And bishop has to block. And then what, castle long? Yeah, I suppose I don't want to allow the bishop to get hit. Like if queen blocks, then I can just trade and I'll pick up a pawn, so this is the only viable move. And I think I'm just going to go long. They might go short. I'll bring this rook over, threatening bishop. Bishop would move. Yeah, so here. If they ever go short, like I say, taking gives me access to this g file. This bishop does a nice kind of pinning job. It would pin the f pawn. So usually, okay, so they go long 2. Bit of a mess of the pawn structure, isn't it? Rook here, queen here, we get what takes, which is a bit meh. And I'm on this pawn, so maybe this, takes, and this pawn needs defending. What do you do, stick a rook behind it? And if they go back, I'm playing g4, and I feel really good about that. There's like queen check here, but I don't think it does anything, I'll just slide over. Yeah, the fact that the bishop attacks f7 is kind of nice. I think black will be slightly better because my pawn structure is pretty pants. The other reason why I was half okay playing h3 is that it puts on a light square, which is obviously the colour of my bishop, not theirs. So obviously these are the big weaknesses in the position. So, you know, I think I'm going to be first to the files. And first question is, how are you defending this pawn? Like, if you push it, then this is going to be pretty weak and it's going to make your g7 weakness more challenging, and you might end up with this pawn structure with them all on light squares. That's good for me. Or you put a rook behind it, but if you put this rook behind it, then I can go here, force you to play this, and then I can put this one here, and then maybe I can get like a double up. Yeah, maybe like one rook here looks nice, looking at this pawn, threatening to infiltrate on the 7th. So I've got some temporary compensation. I would obviously yes. Mate, I'd imagine at top level, black's got a slight edge. It's got drawing vibes to it, hasn't it? Opposite coloured bishops. If I could liquidate all of the kingside pawns, these 3 for 3, in case it goes that way, so I'm going to put this there. Let's see what you're doing about that. Okay, nice. I'm going to put this one on here. It's also giving me a target now of just running this up the board. This square might become quite soft. This pawn is like a permanent weakness. So yeah, running either set of pawns up the board might be quite a useful idea. Maybe I could have done that here. Maybe I could have played h4, h5 here. and then went on h5, played rook g1, I don't know. But this is fine, like, getting control of this file is useful. I'm going to play rook e4 next, maybe even something like rook g4. Maybe rook g4's better. So there's some compensation here to get this piece. I suppose actually on this, there's this. This, I think I'm going to go here. So this is my next move. Force the bishop to move. So maybe they're going here. Maybe. I've got the option of takes here. Where would they go down here? Yeah, and I might end up in a bit of a mating net. Something like, yeah, bishop coming here to force my king over, and then I've got background problems if something ever comes down the e-file. I'm also trying to create a bit of time pressure. Like 5 minutes should be more than enough for them to. We're in towards the closing stages, aren't we, of finalising this endgame? So we just need to see how we go here. Also need to work out if f4 is a useful move or not. F4, f3, or whether that just gives the bishop home on e3 where it can be a bit of a monster. Yeah, do I want to play f4, f5? And it's a question actually when it gets to f5, am I really wanting to take? Because if I ever take there, regardless of which way they go, they're going to end up with either this kind of pawn structure with f and g, or h and g, where there's a protected and I'm always going to have split pawns. Yeah, so maybe I'd want to like follow up with takes, and then launch the second f pawn to do exactly the same stuff afterwards. Okay. I should have probably calculated this line in advance. So, takes here. Suppose you go. Well, I like the look of this. Just threatening to take the rook. This doesn't work because I take here and it's in check, but even if it wasn't a check, still this. And then, no, not that. I think I want to get my king in. Yeah, I don't have a 7th infiltration. Maybe I want to do this. this and this. What do I want to do? I think this and this. See what's it? Yeah, but this, and then here. Then I can't really move this pawn. Maybe we go here and take, and that weakens my structure even more. I'm just worse, aren't I? Here takes. Do I want this? Gives me something. If I can get like a pawn up to d5 before they bring the rook over, then I could check. Pawn's forced up, check, takes, check, takes, and win an exchange. But that involves me getting a pawn up to d5 before they can play the one move. Or they can just trade and play here. And even if they don't do it immediately, I'm here. They've got 2 chances to do it. I'm thinking a draw is probably my best bet here. I can see rooks getting traded is probably drawish, even if I drop this pawn here. Because I think with everything liquidates, it, because of opposite coloured bishops, it should still be a draw. And also, if this comes over with takes, if I go here, and then king can come here. Maybe if it comes here, I lose the tension. And if it's takes, and the king goes the wrong way, then yeah, if I want this, and then this, and then you can't push this one because I take there. Gives me the pawn. To which I shall say thank you. Just wanting to push it. So I'm up a pawn. Okay. So I can keep hold of it here, can I? No, if I can play this. Drops there. This is interesting now. Right, I've still got 11 minutes as well. Like I don't have to play this so frantically. So here it goes into this. Okay, so pushing is the other option, which I kind of like. Pushing, if takes, then takes. And if king takes, I'm in on the 7th. And if pawn takes, you've just got a bit of a rubbish structure, so I'm going to push. And if you go takes there, I take there. And I've still got that pawn advantage. Admittedly, I guess some counterplay that they can just swing in on this side of the board, but think actually. Okay. Let's not make it instant move. So king takes, I get the 7th, and if your pawn takes, this structure's not great. How can I punish this structure? I'm going to go for a king walk. Like, they want to come over to this bit. My bishop probably wants to sit here, doesn't it? Do I play h4, h5? I think. Do I go on? I want to get an active king. Play this, but it doesn't do much, does it? So Rook can come over, but then my bishop can go back. Here, check, here. Or do I want to sit my king over here? Is that the play? On this side to defend the pawn and give mobility to my rook. See if they would like a draw. Yeah, I presume I'm slightly worse here. Yeah, minus 0.5, so I'm happy with the draw. Let's take a look. So Van Geet takes, and actually the one thing I just want to check on this is taking the best. Yeah, taking this takes, and then okay, pawn in the centre just to play small stuff. So this allows me to get my bishop out. Knight f3 played. Bishop c4 is better. Here takes. Yeah, d4. I kind of half was thinking about it. What happens on this? Castle. On this? Okay, interesting. Ah, because you can cover it with the knight. Okay. I was like, do I really want G takes? Yeah, I just kind of sat in this awkward pin, didn't I, for the whole game. King f1. Says no fear, just castle short, don't worry about it. h3, we get this big trade, and this is sitting at minus 0.4, and that's kind of how it felt for the game. So I was thinking here that actually h4 is probably better, and yeah, that's what the engine says. That the move order of h4 is better, stops the bishop from getting here, and I can just try and walk this up. And then if this ever comes, I've got half control of the files, so it's still black's advantage, but nothing major. Yeah, and here was the other bit that I should have spent a bit more time on. So this is what I looked at originally, was takes, and pick up the pawn. I thought you'd probably go here. Okay, here say takes. This. Fine, we can just shuffle some stuff around. I can go here and trade off. Yeah, maybe that's an easier way to get to the draw. I think, yeah, best I'm playing for here is a draw, isn't it? Yeah, maybe like I was saying, maybe my king wanted to sit here. So I was thinking the fortress move would be bishop back here, king somewhere over here, and then the rook can kind of just go wherever it needs to. But anyway, we get our draw. Yeah.